Gonna get ourselves warmed up a little bit here. See how we're feeling this morning. I just had to adjust the microphone a little bit. So let's just find our lightest possible resistance on our bikes and just find something that feels super easy to pedal. And we'll just get ourselves mentally set for our class. So one of my favorite things to do is release the tension in the shoulders and just set my hands lightly on the bars so that they are just feeling like I'm barely resting my weight onto the handlebars. And then I release the tension in my shoulders. And I just pedal nice and softly, just super soft. So just using your very light resistance. Accelerate your legs upwards. Let's just see if we can hit 106. Just super light. Nothing too heavy. We don't want to hurt the legs right now. Just trying to smoothly get the leg speed up. And that way get a little warmth into the muscles, a little rise in the heart rate and get the breathing up a little bit. All right, now just slow your legs down a little bit. And we'll repeat that a couple of times just to get some nice warmth into the muscles of the legs and just to practice working on stitching together our beautiful pedal stroke. All right, you ready? Check your hands, arms, and shoulders. We're going to accelerate the legs again in 2 and 1. Light resistance, very fast pedal speed. See if you can reach that 106 RPM while keeping the upper body nice and steady. If you feel the hips start to bounce at all, I want you to just pedal your weight a little bit more onto the step. And now slow your legs down. And check in with your breathing, see how you feel. Keep your legs turning nice and slow. Now just using your light resistance, see if you can sense the rhythm of the song here. Just close your eyes, see if you can sense it. So if you watch my legs, they'll be showing you the speed. Count it in your head. Okay, now reaching down, we add resistance till it feels like we've hit a steep hill that is very challenging. So take a deep breath. Close your eyes, make sure your spine and your neck are all aligned. Especially, I want you to sense if you can feel the hips driving through the heel of the foot over the top. Add a little more resistance now. Let's make this more challenging. And now we're going to transition. In 3, and 2, and 1. Bring it back to very light resistance and bring your leg speed up a little bit. And now we're just going to be cruising along a flat road here a little bit. And this is a good time for us now to double check with our body posture and our position. So I want you to start with your shoulders. Remove any of the tension from your shoulders. Let them just be relaxed and away from your ears. Now work your mind down your neck and your spine. And we want to keep those all aligned. A lot of times in indoor cycling, people will hang their head or they'll arch their back this way, and we don't want that. We want nice, even, neutral spine and neck. Kind of a forward-looking posture is the way I think of it. Good. So if you look at my leg speed, I'm around 90 RPM. Just pedaling, pretty smoothly with moderate to light resistance. And now I want you to bring a tiny bit more resistance in as you hold this pedal speed, and we're slowly working our way towards where it's very challenging. Working our way there as we just hold this cadence, settle our weight into the saddle. Now, add a little bit more. So at that point you notice it starts to feel uncomfortable. And let's just close our eyes. And if we can visualize a long, empty, flat road ahead of us. And we're just moving along that road. Do you notice your heart rate coming up? Do you notice your breathing starting to pick up? Maybe you're starting to sweat now. That's the level I want us at. If you're not there, go ahead and add a little more resistance. This is just like doing the base kind of work on a bike, where you just maintain a steady effort. It's good for you. Now, as we do this, I want you to notice if any tension starts to creep into your body. I want you to relax your belly so that you can breathe deeply. Now, this is always up to you, but if this is not challenging for you, if it doesn't create just a little bit of a seed of doubt in your head, I need you to add a little more resistance now. The goal here is to get us into that working zone, but with a quiet mind and deep relaxation. This kind of work is perfect for tuning into the breath and your touch points on the bike. Using those as focal points when your mind starts to wander. All right, keep the same resistance you have and slow down for just a second. So I'm going to ask you to add more resistance to a level that feels like you could not hold it 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to hold it for 1 minute. Are you ready? Add it in, come up to the speed of the song. It's a feeling you could not hold for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, settle in. Now I promise you this will only be about a minute to give yourself the chance to feel this work. All right, slow your legs down and bring your resistance down. And with just a light resistance, we're going to begin a 2-song climb, but start now with just light resistance. And let's get our rhythm set. I like to just feel for it. Okay, I've got it now, do you? Well, that means it's time to start our climb. We do that by adding in the resistance till it's so heavy that we feel a very difficult challenge. And when we get into a climbing situation, we really feel the glutes and the hips pushing us over the top of the pedal stroke. It's almost like a squat in the gym. That's how heavy you need this to be to replicate a real hill. Okay, how do we determine if we're in a hill? Is your breath rising? Are you getting out of breath? Or sense any discomfort in the muscles of the legs? Yeah, if you have both of those, then you're in a hill. Now remember, this is a 2-song climb, so don't wear your legs out, don't overdo it in the beginning part of the climb. We can always add more in the second half of the climb if you feel like you're underdoing it. Okay, we're going to stand up out of the saddle for the first time. Remember, before we do that, we add really high resistance. Really high. In 3. In 2. In 1. Add really high resistance. Hold your rhythm. Now bring it back to seated climbing. If you did that last part right, you're nearly breathless right now. The idea is that we have to bring our body weight into the pedal stroke because it's so heavy. That might be new to you if you do spinning classes. It's good practice. Now remember, we're not taking a break right now. We're still in our hill. It's still uncomfortable. Our heart rate is not really coming down at all. Okay, we're approaching the halfway point of our 2-song climb. All right, bring your resistance back down to 1 for just a second. So let's think about how out of breath are you? How sweaty are you? Did that really feel like you were in a hill? Was it steep enough that it caused you doubt? Little concern? That's the way hills feel on a bike. If that wasn't the case in the first half, guess what? You have a second half to try it out. You ready? Bring that resistance back in. Let's get back on our climbing rhythm. Take 10 seconds, just quiet the mind, get that heavy resistance and be one with me. Okay, you got your rhythm? Let's practice coming out of the saddle smoothly and with extra heavy resistance as we hold the rhythm. In 2, 1. Ease that resistance in, rise up. Now those of you new to us, I want you to notice our hands are light on the handlebars. Our body weight is going into the saddle. The pedals, not the handlebars. The idea is that we stand up to get our whole body to drive a heavy pedal stroke. Now ease it back to seated climb. Same rhythm. Close your eyes, relax the belly and breathe deeply 3 or 4 times. So we got 2 minutes or so left in this hill climb. Time to assess. How do you feel? Can you add more now, which is 2 minutes left? If you can, bring it in. I want you to notice there's a slight rocking motion in my hips. You see that? The idea is that those lower back muscles, the rector spinae, are bracing as the hips drive through the glutes. That's when you know you're really climbing. All right, we're going to come out of the saddle again. Remember to add heavy resistance in 2 and 1. Add it in, hold your rhythm, rise on up. Now ease it back down to seated climb. And finally come back to flat road. Good. Now those of you with a heart rate monitor, check it right now. Should be at 85, 90% of your max after that kind of climbing. All right, align your legs to this rhythm. It's about 80 RPM. We're at light resistance. Just quieting the mind, doing a little active recovery, but using the rhythm as a focal point so our minds don't wander. Okay, so we have light resistance. We're going to do a little work at fast pedal speed, first at light resistance, then at some pretty heavy resistance. It feels like we're sprinting. Same pedal speeds in all cases, the difference will be the amount of resistance we have on. So first step is to get our legs speed up. So light resistance, I want you to close your eyes, settle your weight onto the saddle, and see if you can find this rhythm. Okay, I have it now, and I'm checking to make sure my upper body isn't twisting and turning around. I'm making sure my weight is settled into the saddles, and I'm just really beautifully stitching this together. Okay, slow your legs down. I'm going to ask you to add resistance. That will feel like you just can't hold it for 50 seconds, okay? Are you ready? In 2 and 1, accelerate your legs, add your resistance, come up to speed. This is nearly an all-out effort now, so keep your form and your breath going. Now, slow your legs, bring your resistance back down to 1. Perfect time to pay attention to your heart rate monitor if you have one, or your breath if you don't have one. As you can tell, that got me really out of breath because it felt like I was giving it everything. So we're back onto flat road now. Let's bring in a little resistance. It feels like we've got a gear under us. It feels challenging on flat road. And again, we're going to quiet the mind. We're going to check in with our shoulders, elbows, hands, really removing all that stress and tension from the upper body. And now I want you to pick up your leg speed a little bit with that same resistance. Now we're about 90, 95. And that, of course, increased our workload. It's up to you now, but if this is not getting you breathless, add a tiny bit more resistance and let's bring the leg speed up a little bit faster. Now starting to approach 95 to 100. Such a good time to feel the different muscles working. See if you can notice your calves and your hamstrings as they pull you through. Can you feel that feeling? Squeezing you through the bottom. Transition time. Slow the legs. Add resistance. So a moderate hill now. One that's not particularly scary, but definitely feels like a hill. All right, make your hill steeper. So now we've moved into the concerning type of hill. One that makes us look at it and go, yikes. I'm not sure I can do this. That's the kind of hill we're in now. Remember, drive this from the hips below. Get those glutes involved. Feel it through the heel of your foot. Now make it so heavy you can't pedal seated. Hold your rhythm and rise into it. And now come back to seated climb. Notice your out of breathness. Notice your heart rate. That's one of the hardest things, if you're used to a regular spin class, to get used to, is that of adding massive resistance so heavy that you have to stand. That's typically what we do on a bike if we've reached a hill that we can't pedal seated anymore, or shifted to a gear on a flat road. that we need to bring our weight into. So I want you to imagine those two scenarios. We're in a hill now, but that's how it feels. You ready to do it again? In 2, 1. Add that super heavy resistance. We'll only stay here about 20 seconds. Remember to keep your hands light on the bars. Remember to get your weight into the pedals. That's our goal. All right, bring it back to seated climbing again. Now take a few deep breaths. We're going to stand again. See if you can maybe make it heavier this time than you did last time. All right, you know how this all feels now. In 2, and 1. Add it in. Stand up. Stay with it. Shift your weight through the glutes. Keep breathing as we do this. All right, back to seated climb for the rest of the hill. It's only a few seconds. All right, bring your resistance all the way back to flat road. Good time to check in. How'd that feel? What's your breath doing? How's your heart rate? How do your legs feel? We're back in the parking lot now. Just cruising. Now we pull out of the parking lot, out onto a long flat road, shift gears, accelerate the bike, and now we're exercising again. So look at my cadence. Look at my shoulders. See how my neck is in line with my spine. Notice how my hands are light on the bars. Take a deep breath. Get a gear that feels very challenging to you at about my pedal speed, about 90 RPM. And let's close the eyes and focus on the breath. Relaxing the belly. For cyclists, this kind of effort is one of the more beautiful types because we settle into a steady state, yet challenging effort, and now we can go deep within. We can really start to breathe intentionally. We can notice the pressure of the hands on the bars or the sit bones on the saddle. We can feel every individual muscle working in the different parts of the pedal stroke. This is all beautiful meditative focus. So good for the mind. Now, if this isn't feeling challenging to you, you have control of that. Add some more resistance, hold the same kind of pedal speed. It's up to you. Now, if you want, you can accelerate your legs a little bit, add some more work. Same resistance turned faster requires more work from your muscles. Bringing your resistance back to 1 and slowing the legs again. Assessing how we feel, assessing our sweatiness. So, together, we're going to do a little practice. We're going to imagine we're on an empty runway or road with no cars, all by ourselves. We're going to cover a quarter mile or a little bit more as fast as we can on our bikes. Now, spinners, that doesn't mean we make our legs go faster, 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 faster. It means we find a gear that at about 90 RPM or 95 RPM, we can barely withstand, and we stay there. That's why we have gears on bikes. You really don't want to be pedaling over 110 RPM, even 105. If you find yourself pedaling that fast out on the road, you would shift gears, right? So we're going to shift gears using our resistance knobs. And we're going to get about 90 RPM, and it's going to be a gear that we feel we cover a quarter mile or so as fast as we possibly could on our bikes. And so it'll be uncomfortable from the very second we start. And it will take us, 40 seconds or so. All right, are you ready? Let's get ourselves into position. Check all of our points on the bike. Check our body, check our spine. Are you ready? Close your eyes, visualize that ahead of you. In 2 and 1. Shift to that gear and accelerate your legs. Do you notice the discomfort already? Yes. Perfect then. Now look at my body. I'm fairly well relaxed. My hands are still light. I feel strong discomfort in the muscles of the legs. And now I'm going to increase my leg speed a little bit for the last part. And now bring your resistance down to 1 and slow your legs. If you have a heart rate monitor, look at it now. Hear my breathing. That kind of effort takes real intention and dedication, doesn't it? We're going to pedal really light resistance, really slow pedal speed now, just letting the heart rate recover, and then we're going to try another one. Okay, are you ready? Close your eyes, visualize that road ahead of you. Think about shifting to those harder gears and accelerating your legs on your bike. In 3, 2, 1. Accelerate the legs, add that resistance. Settle in, hips are steady. So one of the things we used to talk about when I was a bike racer is that you want your upper body and your face to look relaxed so that your opponents don't know that you're struggling. I'm struggling, but I should look pretty relaxed. I'm breathing from a relaxed belly, making sure to get that oxygen in, getting rid of that carbon dioxide. Hips are steady on the saddle. In 2. And 1. Bring your resistance down to 1. Slow your legs, but keep them turning. Time to cool down. Good job. Sit up if you like. Keep your legs turning though. So as we pedal slowly, we keep our resistance super light and in fact keep reducing that resistance. As we try to take the work out of the legs. And we notice now the breath slowing and the legs starting to recover, right? You notice those feelings? Good job. We've been riding 44 minutes already. Well, we had a good ride today, you guys. Keep taking your resistance out even more now. We should notice that our breath is coming back to something close to where it was right when we were just into our warm-up so long ago. Keep taking that resistance out, slowing the legs even more. Cool down is so important, just as is the warm-up. Alright. If you don't have your resistance at the lowest possible now, make sure it's there now. And now let's start to slow the legs to a stop. Beautiful. Now rise with me to the 3 and 9 o'clock position with your feet. I want you to drop your heels so there's a nice stretch in the calf muscles. And now we're going to move the back foot to the front. And again, just drop your heels and feel that nice stretch in the calves. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and step off the bike. Your job now is to stretch your quads and your hamstrings. Stretch your quads by pulling back on the ankle of each leg. And you can use the bike to stretch your hamstrings. In both cases, hold them very steady, don't bounce, and keep your breathing going and really tune into just feeling that muscle stretch a little bit. Great to have you with me today. Thank you for writing. I'll leave the music going for a minute or two so you can finish your stretches, and we'll see you next time at RevoCycle Online. Thanks for joining me. See ya.